Judgment time.
Welcome to Everything Comes Back to 2000AD, and today I'm joined by Mr. Stephen Ross.
Mr. Rossy, what you want? Oh, a tree of ice cream cones, a cocoa castle for a home, custard cakes, coffee breaks, holiday, we're on the same.
Hello from the closet with the squeaky chair.
And Mr. John Burtis.
Hello to all you dockers out there. I'm still recovering from my trip across America.
Saguaro.
Yeah.
Well, John will be with us. There'll be two podcasts this week. John will be with us. John will be with us tomorrow. Give him some time to recover from his trip to Trumpland.
Yeah, well, I apologize for the last one because apparently it was like a lot of me just rambling.
Oh, that's just John. That's just John having a laugh.
Well, I mean, hopefully everybody got their laundry folded and dishes washed and everything while they were listening to it. Maybe multitasked or something.
Well, the next
long trip.
Well, the next podcast will be all John, anyways, telling us about his adventures.
I hope so. Because I got nothing after today.
I hope he had all his paperwork in order, else he would have been detained.
Mm-hmm. Sadly, there's probably more chance of that happening to him back home now.
Back in the UK
when he was out here. Yeah.
Yeah. They probably the minute he landed in Heathrow or Gatwick or whatever, they probably looked at all the memes he was posting on Facebook and said, "We're gonna have to do a Graham Lenihan on this guy and arrest him."
Yep.
Yeah. Freedom of speech, my ass.
Yep.
Yeah. He had a good time here. We'll talk a little bit. He had a good time here. He was here when the storm hit. He'll talk all about that, which is rare. They're not common, but they're not exactly rare. But he was here at the time when a huge dust storm hit. Just imagine Mad Max Fury Road, which he brought the rain with him too, which was very thankful. He brought the English weather with him, which was good. Mm-hmm. But he'll talk about all that tomorrow. So how you been, Rossy?
Yeah. How have I been?
Yeah. What you do all this week?
Oh, well, since the last time we spoke, I saw Red Sonja. And
we'll talk about that in movies and TV.
Yeah, and I got pretty much everything I did falls neatly into our categories, except for the deaths. Which I, to my knowledge, nobody died while John was gone. So I don't have.
Well, Graham Greene died.
Oh, okay.
He was a Native American actor. He was in Dances with Wolves.
Oh, it's not Graham Greene, the writer.
Oh, I think he died decades ago, didn't he?
That's what I thought. That's what I'm kind of like, what?
No, he was born in 1952 and died just August 31st. Mm-hmm. He was in theaters and everything, television, movies.
Oh.
Yeah. Let me see if there's anyone. He's in Maverick in 1994. That's the Mel Gibson movie. Dances with Wolves. He was Kicking Bird in Dancing with Wolves. Die Hard with a Vengeance. He was the detective in that.
Well, he doesn't sound very Native American.
No, with a name like Graham Greene, that was probably the name given to him by the Indian schools. Oh, who knows?
Right. Conversely, unlike Jay Silverheels, who was apparently Italian and
You know what he was in? He was in Captain Power and the Soldiers of the Future.
Graham Greene?
Yeah, he played a Cherokee.
Oh,
There,
huh.
that's something you'd probably seen him in.
Yeah.
And he's in
I mean,
Tulsa King as well. He was in.
oh, okay. Oh, I wonder, maybe he's one of those guys that like raided the ranch.
Well, he would have been a
Wow.
prominent. He would have been prominent then, so you would have seen him like up
Right,
front. Like he wouldn't have been a bit actor in the background.
right.
He's also in Red Dead Redemption 2. He was the voice of Rain's Fall. He must have been the chief.
Hmm.
God, that game is like 6 years old. 2018.
Uh-huh.
Good
Did
grief.
you ever get your?
7 years old.
Did you finally ever get through it?
Oh yeah, I finished Red Dead Redemption a long time ago.
Hmm.
One of the most immersive gaming experiences you can have because the end of it is gut wrenching, and you wouldn't feel that way unless the game was. What's interesting is how they design games these days. Like in Grand Theft Auto 5, it's an old game now, but you're able to switch between characters, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of them is a white Italian type gangster guy that's living on the lam. That's like in the witness protection program kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Another is Franklin, who's an urban guy, black dude, and
Uh-huh.
the other one is I can't remember his name. It's he's the redneck hillbilly. Oh, let's see. I'll get their names when I'm here. Trevor. Trevor's the redneck guy. It's funny is because when you can switch, you can quantum leap into their bodies, right, at different times
Mm-hmm.
in the game. So when you're playing as Franklin, he's the urban guy. You know, you do some missions and then you can switch into Michael's body, and you'll find out Michael's at home watching TV, right? And then you can play with Michael for an hour or two, and then you switch back into Franklin, and Franklin's somewhere else, like maybe he's down at the tire shop or something. You know what I mean? The characters
Mm-hmm.
do stuff while you're not in their bodies, like Quantum Leap. The minute you jump into Trevor's, you know he's done some crazy shit because he's a hillbilly redneck. That's always how.
Hold my beer.
Yeah, yeah. And the thing is, because psychologically, when you're playing as Michael, you'd be responsible, right? You find yourself trying to do the responsible things. Same with Franklin. You try and do the responsible thing. The minute you jump into Trevor's body, you start doing crazy shit because that's the way his character is. Like it's all psychological.
Right.
Even though you shouldn't be doing that. Do your mission stuff. That you find yourself doing crazy stuff because he's the hillbilly redneck character.
Right.
So psychology builds into it, and then with Red Dead Redemption 2, that's in there as well. The you don't jump characters or anything. You play the same character, but there's stuff that happens to the character, and even to the characters around him that you get to know through playing the game. That when stuff happens, it's like watching a movie. You actually feel like, holy shit, what the fuck? And then the end of it is gut wrenching. So
Oh.
yeah, so it has a real bummer impact on you. Like, fuck. It's one of it's amazing how they build that into games now, and I'm sure with the new Grand Theft Auto 6 that's going to be out next year, you're going to have a similar experience with some of the characters.
Hmm.
And that's why those games make billions,
Hmm.
more than movies.
Well, I mean, it's what I mean. Part of the reason I don't really get involved with them is because it's like one more thing I don't need to spend time on, and
Well, they're time suckers.
yeah. I mean, I could justify books and reading. Like, okay, I'll buy this book that I probably won't have time to read, but theoretically, I might someday. That's the retirement plan. But that will tie into something I want to do, with writing. But with the video game, it's kind of like I probably should because that's what the kids are more into these days, and it's a complete blind spot for me. But on the other hand, it's like, oh, how many hours?
Well,
there-
there's only certain games I would get because I know the minute I get it, nothing's gonna get done. Nothing.
right.
The Batman games were like that. The Arkham games, except for Origins. Origins was a huge disappointment for me. But the other three Batman games, because they're written by Paul Dini. They're written by Paul Dini and use the actual voiceover actors from the animated series. But that was the closest.
Right.
That was the closest you get to being Batman without being Batman. Those games were amazing. I mean, and they were open world. I mean, Gotham City, you could hop from building to building with Batman and Gotham City. It's just like the game is so massive, and the other ones were Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead Redemption. With Red Dead Redemption, there are so many different side missions and different things going on that no wonder it took them years to build a game. Because there's so much going on. You don't have to even do the main stuff. You can do all other stuff as well. I mean, there's a Romeo and Juliet type story in there. You get to hunt the serial killer if you want to. You get to see all these Easter eggs like ancient alien stuff. Like you go to the top of this mountain, and inside one of the crevices of the mountain, you see the skeleton of a giant. You know, there's stuff you come across people that live in the wild. You see a traveling circus with a pinhead and a magic dwarf. I mean, it's just the amount. And see, the thing is, if you're just playing the main mission, you miss all that. Right?
Oh my God! You sold me on the pinhead.
You get to punch the pinhead in the bar. You have a fight with him. So there's all that kind of stuff going on in Red Dead Redemption.
Does it literally look like Zippy the Pinhead?
Yeah.
Like the actual
face,
the
face with the little hair bob in the top of the head. Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
And then you can go into the movie theater and watch it like a little bit of animation. You can go into a proper theater and watch a circus acts going on. And I mean, there's so many different things that even if you spent 80 hours a week on it, there's still stuff you'll find that you didn't come across before. You find I did this one thing where I found a stash hidden. A gunfighter stash where he had his old famed gun, right? Like a legend. The gun's a bit of a legend. And then he had a box of pornography, and the pornography was just ladies revealing their ankles. So they have funny stuff like that in there. You help this guy develop the electric chair. I mean, tons of stuff that just like unbelievable. Like that you even I say I probably did. I completed the game, did a lot of side missions, but I say I probably only did 20%, 25% compared to everything else that I'm seeing online, where people are discovering this and discovering that and talking to this character, talking to that character. If you kill this character, this is what happens. If you let him go, this is what happens. Tons of stuff like that in it. I mean, it's a very immersive game.
Yeah, it sounds a lot of those better games seem to be like you get a lot of value for your money, and what do they cost? Like $60 or?
Oh no, I think when Grand Theft Auto the new one comes out, it'll be probably closer to 100.
Ooh.
But the thing is, the replay value on that is unlimited.
Exactly. Do you actually get a physical item like a disc in the package, or is it just
here's
a code you can go online?
No, you get a disc. I think they're going back to disc based. A lot of games are, because there are a lot of areas in the United States where the internet isn't the best.
Mm-hmm.
So they did that with Indiana Jones. The last Indiana Jones game, I was going to get it because the games are better than the movies. And
well, duh.
And I was going to get it, and then I heard people complaining that you put the disc in, then you have to. The disc only sets up like 10% of the game or 20% of the game, and the rest you have to download. I'm like, well, that's kind of a jip, because just say that the company stops supporting that game. How are you going to play the game?
Well, I mean, like, if you can download it and you download it and it's like on your computer, then
or put it on a USB. Put it on a USB or something.
Yeah, like I'm paranoid enough that I've got like my iTunes downloads on a disc, so for like my music and the few music videos I have, I just burned them onto a disc. And if they stopped supporting iTunes a long time ago, apparently, but I still use it all the time, and on my old ass computer. So anyway.
Yeah, I don't know who else died. We'll have to leave that to John.
Yeah. And will John's trip be considered Adventures in Trumpland, or did?
Yeah,
I didn't hear anything particularly egregious or praiseworthy either way this week. So, but your ear's closer to the ground.
Yeah. Well, I'm venturing Trump land. Here we go. There was a judge that ruled that Trump's putting the National Guard in California was illegal, even though it's not, because that'll be repealed. That'll go to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court rule in favor. They're all activist judges. They're all left-wing activist judges. There's a two-tier system in the United States where if you're a Republican president and you want to pass stuff, then these liberal judges, like the activists will go out, or Democrats will go out looking for a particular judge that will rule in their favor, like judge shopping they call it. But people are the left are like, oh yeah, it's illegal, blah blah blah. But they didn't read all that the judge said. The judge was actually pretty fair in part of it. He said that the 300 federal agents there can stay there that are already in California, stay there. The federal agents are there to protect the federal buildings. They're not to do anything else. They're just there to stop damage to federal buildings. So it's all, when you look at the details, it sounds like, oh, Trump illegal, he can't do that. But when you look at the details, it's not like that at all. So there's a lot of that going on. There's a judge today that said that they couldn't deport the Trinidad Aragua gang members. So that's going to go. It's like they're all insane. They're all absolutely nuts.
Yeah, I mean, there was, so I'm not going to say it's neither correct or wrong or whatever. It to me, it's just confusing now. But like, you know, when they were talking about the election fraud and all that, it's like that woman, what was her name? Sidney
Powell.
Not Sweeney. Powell. I mean, for decades, she was some kind of like hotshot DC lawyer. And Giuliani, who was a lawyer before he was like the beloved mayor of New York, before he was public enemy number one for getting behind Trump. And they were showing all these like 3-ring binders full of affidavits that they had collected from people who had worked at the voting centers and whatever, plus whatever other evidence they had. And they just wanted a judge to consider, and they couldn't even get like anybody to look at it. And they were saying like, you know, it was, one of them was saying like, well, there were too many typos in her.
Or the thing is as well, there wasn't a will to investigate it. I mean, from reporters, there were some reporters that did it, but they weren't the mainstream people. And the problem with that is that the reason the mainstream didn't want to touch it is because, number one, they could get sued into oblivion. And number two, if you show the rest of the world that the United States rigged its election, it looks really bad because the United States is supposed to be the beacon of, you know, the what the Reagan call it, the something on the hill, the shining light on the hill.
Camelot.
Yeah, so it looks really bad that here's the United States that's supporting all these pro-democracy things around the world, and yet its own democracy is a sham.
Yeah, and like so I've kind of stopped listening to BitChute videos because they can get A, really insane, and B, really depressing, and it's really not good for your mental health. But during the lockdowns, they were sources of there were like genuine doctors who are now actually working for the government, who were, you know, blasted off of because of all the censorship, which we know now was an actual thing. That was like the only place that they could speak in public. And so anyway, there were some BitChute videos where Sidney Powell and Giuliani were talking and showing off what they had and stuff like that. And they were talking about the machines and how, you know, they kept saying like, well, you can't hook them up to the internet until they showed like, yeah, this is where you actually hook it up to the internet, you know, that kind of stuff. So, I don't even remember where I was going with this, but
well, even when they did the forensic audit in Arizona, there's only certain paper that you're allowed to use in Arizona. Like there's it's all watermarked and stuff like that, and a different type of, the way there's all different types of paper. There's
Yeah,
only one that was
yeah.
approved. They found 10 different types.
Yeah,
So that they should have been thrown out.
Well, and that's where they were talking. It was on BitChute that they were talking about, like, boxes found in landfills and stuff like that. And it's kind of like, at this point, and then, but the weird thing is, like, now, that we're still, like, nobody's talking about that. Like, so.
Oh wait, did you hear the last cabinet meeting that Trump had? Tulsi Gabbard said that they found burn bags pertaining to the 2020 election.
I did hear that. So I'm kind of like, okay, well, I heard about all these things, and some of the stuff that they're coming out with now, I'm like, oh, well, that was mentioned on BitChute years ago, when I was in lockdowns and listening to that stuff. And people are acting like, what? This is news? And I'm like, well, yeah,
It's news if you weren't listening.
Well, I mean, again, like, you either listening to the crazy people, or, I mean, because there was a lot of other stuff in there that seemed less credible or more fantastic, and the way it's presented is like they're
crazy people.
Yeah, well, I mean, usually a lot of these BitChute shows, especially like the right-leaning shows, I understand why people on the left resist this stuff, because on those shows they might be presenting information that's a degree of factual, but then they present it bundled in with this praise Jesus kind of
fantastical elements.
Christianity. Yeah, it's like, Jesus told me that God's hand is on Trump's shoulder and he's going to push him into, and it's kind of like, okay, I'm trying to get through this part to get to what might be an actual.
Yeah, it's like, now you lost me because you're wrong on this shit. What else are you going to be wrong on?
Right. Well, I respect what they believe, and I respect that they're going against the grain to present something that might eventually prove to be fact, but it's tough.
They're fighting Satan, Rossy.
Oh my God! Have you actually? Okay.
No, I don't watch any of the BitChute stuff.
No. I know that stuff. I know those videos have the reputation for that, and people kind of like, a lot of people kind of know, like, assume what it's like. But until you've actually heard it, until you've heard that crazy, it's like, so you're getting through all, I mean, you're trying to sift, I'm trying to do something else. Again, like I said about me before, it's like you're folding laundry or doing push-ups or whatever. So you're kind of half listening to this stuff. And even though you're disregarding a lot of it, it's still seeping in somehow, somewhere. And it's like, it is pretty crazy making. And then the stuff that the most insane and toxic thing is, like, no matter how insane and toxic you think X Twitter is, or Rumble, or the comment section on BitChute is by far like 4chan seems like a polite dinner with a family that loves each other compared to the comment section on a BitChute video. So anyway, yeah, I'm glad, and it probably sounds enticing, so I don't want to encourage I'm not encouraging anybody to, or I hope nobody goes like, oh, well, challenge accepted, I'm going to listen to this.
There was a lot of stuff that happened. There was a lot of stuff that happened in 2020 that suggests that the election, I personally believe they stole it, right? But even if you're an average Joe Soap that's not left-leaning or right-leaning, if you're an independent, and you looked at 2020 and you saw all the crazy stuff going on, the chances are you come to the conclusion that something dodgy went on. Because why would the Biden administration send around 10 to 20 lawyers down to Arizona to stop a forensic audit going on if nothing happened?
Have you seen those?
They also changed the laws in a lot of states, in the swing states, to accommodate mail-in ballots, which they're not allowed to. They have to go through the legislator to change it, and they didn't. So there was stuff like that going on. That there was like they're allowed counting. They allowed to you do if the date on your mail-in ballot was after the election, they still counted it. Crazy shit like that. And then you heard about the post office carting like all these ballots from one place to another. Then recently you heard about they caught 20,000. We found information that in 2020 they caught 20,000 ballots coming in from China. So and then there was the election itself where they found ballots where the only what a ballot looks like in California. It might have 10 or 15 things on it. In Arizona, it might have 20, right, that you're supposed to tick off. And the only box that was ticked was President of the United States. That never happens. So there's things like that when you're going to find out in the long run. It'll come out eventually, but I know that Trump is going to do an executive order that there will be no mail-in ballots and everything will be paper ballot, and you can only use your ID to go vote. Right. So that'll be challenged. That'll be challenged because that's a federal thing. States are in charge of their own elections. But if he says, "Well, this is a federal thing for president," then he might get that changed. But it'll be challenged. But I mean, what crazy world do we live in where you don't use ID to vote?
Well, so you've seen those pyramids with the all-seeing eye. You know, it's on the dollar bill, but it's also used like to indicate a conspiracy theory or something like that. So on the conspiracy pyramid, there is that part on the bottom where people, a lot of like even some moderately left-leaning people will grudgingly agree. Like now, it's like, okay, so there was some interference because of the Twitter files, which has been hugely underreported, and everything.
And then you have Hunter's laptop.
Right. So they were saying like 10 or 11% of people might have paused if they had known about the laptop thing. And there was the Twitter files where like the huge amount of censorship that the Biden administration asked the social media platforms to do about the election and the vaccines and the COVID stuff and all that kind of stuff. And so there's like this bottom of the pyramid where like there's all this other stuff, and what it all adds up to is not quite enough to make a huge difference in the eletion.
Well, well, they're wrong.
Whether you believe
they're
that
wrong.
or not is something else.
Yeah, well, they're wrong, and I'll tell you why they're wrong. All you have to do is look at the election results from the last 5 or 6 elections. You'll see they're all very regular until you get to Biden's in 2020, and there's 15 million extra people. There's a huge spike, right?
Yeah.
And then in 2024, it went back to kind of regular, right? So you're going to go, where did those 15 million people disappear to? Because Trump was supposed to be worse in 2024. He was Hitler. Democracy is at stake. He was worse in 2020. He led an insurrection.
Right.
He was worse in 24 and 2020. So where did those 15 million people disappear to? The fact is they never existed.
Yeah, or they were dead.
Well, yeah, they never existed because what happened in 2024 is the Republicans were wise to what was going on, what went on in 2020, and they stopped it. And also, a lot of states got rid of the mail-in ballots. A lot of states got rid of the machines. There was one state that went completely to paper ballot. So a lot of that was stopped, and then the lawyers were out in full. Whenever they noticed that they were shutting down polling stations ahead of time, the lawyers were on it right away. They were catching stuff left, right, and center, and they did try and cheat in Pennsylvania. And they did cheat in Arizona because Kerry Lake should have been a senator because she was so aligned with Trump that Trump won the state by a lot. And Kerry Lake should have been senator. But Gallego cheated because it took them, another 2 weeks or 3 weeks for them to count all the votes in Arizona for senator. That's crazy.
Yeah, I remember it taking like some ridiculous long.
Yeah, when an election takes that long, to call, there's some skullduggery and malarkey going on because you don't have that in other countries. You have France, which knows by nighttime who's won their election. Even in the UK, it's the same thing. So it shouldn't take that long to do for a state
If
to come
you
up with who
counted
won.
like one ballot a minute, it shouldn't take that long.
No.
I mean, what the hell?
No, so
Yes.
so that's how you know. And people say, well, you can't do. Today it's all no, it shouldn't be that complicated. The BBC, even
Right.
the BBC back in 2015, this is before they destroyed their credibility. Back in 2015, said signs of a rigged election. One of them was waiting days or weeks to find the final result.
Mm.
Ah,
Yeah, and like
crazy.
the media, the worst thing of all is like the media has not.
It's complicit.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
when Biden became president, there were questions they would ask him, like what kind of fucking chocolate ice cream is he eating? What kind of ice cream is he eating? Like these are the kind of softball questions. Biden gave 7 cabinet meetings, allowed access to 7 cabinet meetings over 4 years. Trump has done 7 in 7 months.
yeah,
I mean, Biden disappears for a week, nobody bats an eyelid. Trump goes disappearing for 2 days, he's dead. I mean,
right.
this is the media. This is how bad the media is in this country.
Well, they play this trick too, where they go. It's like some economist or some expert or something will come up with like the worst case scenario for whatever it is he's trying to do, and then they report on it like that's exactly what's going to happen. The minute this thing gets implemented, and then people flip out and they pass uncredited memes around saying like this, this is going to be our future, and so uh, more and more. I mean, I my social media right now is mostly just liking a bunch of stuff. I don't really post that much. And I'm paying for it with very low engagement. And it's like, well, eventually I want to use it to promote stuff that I'm working on, but I did use it to promote stuff I was working on for the past 2 years, and I was never able to get a lot of traction. Granted, I didn't listen to a lot of the guru stuff, but a lot of the guru stuff didn't really apply to the kind of thing I was trying to do. So what do I do? And it's kind of like, you know what, just suck it up, pay for the ads, pay for their fucking ads, and also maybe it was the product that I was trying to sell too. So there you go. That's my solution. But
I'll give you one
yeah.
more. I'll give you one more in Trump land before we go. Just remember this one. There was news on the Maryland man, right?
Oh, yeah.
Kristi Noem appeared. This is CBS editing shit again. Kristi Noem appeared on CBS, and she was asked about the Maryland man, and she gave a list of all the stuff that he did, right? And there was one thing in there that I'd never heard before about the Maryland man. Apparently, he was trying to solicit underage nudes.
Oh,
And
boy.
even the human traffickers that he was involved in were frowning on him, saying, "Hey, you can't be doing shit like that." Even the human traffickers. Kristi Noem mentioned that on CBS and all the other stuff he did, and of course CBS cut that out. They cut that out of their
Wow.
interview. So I mean, there could be another lawsuit on its way to CBS. I mean, they never learned their lesson. But anyway, that was it, Maryland man. What else was I going to say to you? Yeah, as far as the internet engagement when it comes to Facebook and stuff, yeah, I noticed that it's not as good as it used to be, or
No,
not as far reaching.
no. And I mean, maybe because we're not paying for it, maybe because we're not engaging as much. It just seems like, well, also I'm not interested in creating or participating in drama, and that seems to be what
Yeah, I avoid it.
gets the most. Yeah, so I'm like, it doesn't seem worth it.
Yeah, but
And I mean, a lot
if
of
I see a friend of mine post something really stupid politically, and they don't even have a horse in the race. For example, I know this guy in the UK, and he posted this thing of old people listening to Trump, and it was obviously a prank, but they believed everything that was said that the prank said. But you could do the same thing for the Democrats. You just take something that you can have this old lady Democrat with blue rinse hair, protesting Trump, and you'll say stuff that this is what Kamala Harris said, or this is what Chuck Schumer said, and completely wrong and batshit crazy, right? Just a prank.
yeah,
And they believe it. So you can go on both sides, but I find it funny that a person in the UK is doing this, and like, dude, you got no horse in the race. He's not your president. But the fact that he lives in your head. But anything political like that, I don't bother responding to. I mean, there's no point. I mean, you're not going to change my mind. They're not going to change yours, so I don't know why you do it.
Yeah, I mean, to me, the bottom line with the whole Trumpland thing or all that is until arrests are actually made
Yeah,
and
nothing's going to
things
change.
actually start to change, nothing's going to change. And until we have like a literal generational shift, we still have geriatric boomers basically running the same geriatric boomers.
Yeah, well, it started to disappear because Nadler's just retired now. He's not running again.
Right.
So, and he
the
said,
same
he used the reason, he threw them all under the bus. He said the reason he's retiring and not running for office again is because of the Biden thing. That's what he said. He said, like, air quotes, Biden thing. It's like, dude, if you knew who Biden was that bad when he was in office, why didn't you say so? Of course they don't, because they all stick together. But, you know, that actually puts a lot of pressure on the likes of Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi, because if he's saying the reason I'm doing it is because of the Biden thing, I don't want to be that guy. So the rest will have to follow suit.
These people have to step down. And the other thing is, like, there's some people now who talk good talk, but behind them are people that are not completely trustworthy. They have like a lot of money and another agenda that it doesn't matter who's in charge now. If they get these things done that they want to get done in 10, 20 years, we're still fucked. And also, this woman, I'll mention her again, this Karlin Borisenko woman on Substack, she plays these videos and Zoom chats by actual socialists, and she says they do it publicly because they know that these videos only get like 32 views, and they're only being watched by people who agree with them. So, you know, the supervillains are basically monologuing, and nobody cares because it's a boring ass video of people talking and you're listening to like terminology that either you don't understand, or if you do understand it, it's stuff you've heard. It's stuff it's stuff you've heard and you think you understand, but it's like the words are there's nuance to the words that unless you listen to her explain it, it's like, oh, they're saying this, but they really mean that. You know, there's socialist terminology, socialist and communist terminology that it's
like when they introduced a bill called the Reduce Inflation Bill, and all it did was increase inflation. It did the opposite of what they said it was.
Right. So she was watching. She was listening and reacting to a video about queer Marxism in New York that was recorded in the 90s. It was like all these people being interviewed and, you know, what they would like to accomplish and stuff like that. And she was flipping out because apparently some of these people are still active today. So this is the 90s. This is like 30 years ago now.
Oh, I can show you a Kid in the Hall sketch from the 1980s, and you look at it and you think it was done like last year.
Yeah, and they're using they're using DEI stuff that's like common DEI terminology now, but it's like it's gone from being like, okay, this is queer Marxism, and you're kind of like, well, you know, what is that exactly? And it's like, and then it's like, oh, I've heard those words being used now under the DEI stuff or whatever, and it's like, oh, and so, and she's also talking about zines being a way that they get their stuff around because it's on paper and it's easier to cover it up. Anyway, so unless we do something about the Marxism being disguised as people pretending like they're looking out for other people, you know, fighting for social justice, but it's actually thinly disguised Marxism. Because anyway, I don't want to get into that. That's like a 3-hour. That's a 3-hour podcast.
We'll have to stick you on BitChute.
No, yeah, but I mean, well, her stuff's not even BitChute. Like, to me, Substack's like the gold standard of what a social media platform could be. More and more, I'm spending my time there, and less it's more and more, because it's more and more focused on stuff I'm interested in, and then you get enough of it, you get a fill of it, and then you can walk away. The other ones, they give you like a little morsel, you keep scrolling, morsel, but it's just kind of like the morsel version of it. But like on Substack, you can read an entire, like, you like Pulp Fiction, you can find a guy who will reprint an entire Pulp Fiction story that you can read for free on Substack. If you want more, you can pay for it, and they'll give you even more content. Or like with her, it's like she posts entire videos on there. One of my favorite conspiracy guy, who I also discovered on BitChute, he's on Substack, and you can watch his videos for free because he's got a message he wants to put out there. And so it's kind of like, it's getting to be like, okay, I like his conspiracy videos, which take about an hour to listen to, unless I speed it up, and then it's like 45 minutes. And like her videos go on a long time. It takes a while to read the video. And then it's like, that's enough. I'm walking away. And like on Facebook this morning, I was scrolling through, and it's kind of like, well, this is something I liked in the 80s. This is something I liked in the 90s. And this is something I liked in the 2000s. What did I get out of all this? A bunch of stuff from the past. And so, and I'm granted the Pulp Fiction story is something from the past, but it's not. It was one that I had not read before, so it was new to me. So on Substack, it's kind of like what's now, or maybe something I've just not been exposed to before, versus just constant nostalgia bait. Because Facebook figured out I like nostalgia bait, and I don't know how to get out of the nostalgia bait loop on Facebook now. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Or it's cute animal videos, and it's like, yes, I love the dopamine hit of watching a capybara getting its belly scratched, but you know, after the 50th one, it's like, oh, that's what it looks like. You know. So I'm happy that Cappy got its belly scratched too. He looks really happy, but I can also find something else to do.
Well, let's move on to Kickstarter Corner. You got anything for Kickstarter Corner, Rossy?
I do. I have a couple of things. Apparently, the V story that the 77 was selling, that did well. And I only ordered the digital for that one because the shipping's like makes it double the cost of the thing, so I can't anymore. And that's going to be true for pretty much even Ben Dunn, and you know, I consider the 77 guys my friends, but pretty much everybody, unless it's like this is my one and only chance to get that physical object, I'm just like done. And movies on Kickstarter I'm still waiting for a bunch of stuff, so that's become a big note for me as well.
Well, there was a big change in shipping and stuff like that. Was when the current administration got rid of the de minimis thing. I think it's called de minimis. I could be pronounced that completely wrong. But the last administration was going to do the same thing. They were mulling it over, but this administration decided to get rid of it. Basically, what it used to be is that anything under $800, it didn't go through a proper, intense security check through customs, because it was under $800. And so a lot of small businesses, like people on Etsy or even Kickstarters, would be able to send their stuff across to the UK or the rest of the world without there being any taxes or tariffs on it. But the Trump administration's got rid of that up till $100. So anything under $100 you can still send as a gift, and it won't be taxed, or it won't be tariffed, or it won't, you know, have extra stuff put on it. But yeah, the reason they did it is because there's a lot of illegal stuff being shifted. And they were talking about doing it a while ago too, like not just this administration, previous administrations, because a lot of contraband gets shipped over to the United States, or from the United States to other countries, and even illegal stuff. And what this does by getting rid of it is it enables customs to do a more thorough search on every package coming in and out of the country. So, but that affects Kickstarter as well. So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see how that. And see, the thing is, if you were to buy stuff from the 77 and they send it over to you, you might have to pay an extra tax to get it from the post office because of the de minimis thing is gone.
Right, and also, well, there's that, and I mean, it was always kind of pricey, but it was like, there was
Postage is expensive, anyways. Like, I mean, I sent you guys. I talked to the fulfillment center for Thugs. Like, Thugs got funded, and we're up to 1,235. We still got 28 days to go, and and the thing is, I sent you guys, and we have a chat that I send the guys some information to, and I sent them like from the fulfillment center how much postage costs. It's outrageous. I mean, in the United States, it's better. Like, I think it's $7 to send a package from the fulfillment center of a copy of Thugs, and Thugs is 74 pages, so I think it's worth it. But when you go to the UK, I think it's 12 or 16, and then the rest of the world is like 21. You're paying the same amount as you would pay for the comic.
Yeah.
So the only way you can make it worthwhile for yourself is to go for the big packages, go for the big items, go for not just a physical comic book, but also if you want a sketch card done, or if you want a 11 by 17 commission, like, make it really worth your while.
Yeah, take it right up to that edge.
Yeah. So it's interesting times ahead.
Well, I also I've got this little table here where in my bedroom where it's like the to be read pile, and so I was using it for a bunch of other stuff, and just like any crap or shipments or boxes arrive or whatever, and I just kind of like pile it up there. So it's like, comics and other books and bills and everything else. So I finally cleaned it up and reorganized it, and part of that meant putting some of the comics I unread, I just put in the long boxes, and I'm like a year behind on some of these titles, so eventually I'll catch up, ha ha ha. But so I'm those are kind of just disappearing into the comic book collection, and then I've got this big 30-gallon tub of comic books, graphic novels, and collections and whatnot, and those are largely unread, and that's almost completely full now. And I'm like, I hope I still have enough of a lifetime left just to read this stuff, never mind whatever else gets published in the future. So I'm like, I really got to slow this down, and I'm focusing on this small book publisher I want to, because I'm a book guy, and it's easier for me to get a story out, like a story I've actually written, a prose story, as opposed to a comic book story where it's like, well, I'm pushing 60 now. By the time I get the next comic book story out, I'll have to go through 6 artists and wait for them to take care of their dead cat, their girlfriend's cats, and their sick parents, and do 3 other commissions that they get paid more for, and all this other kind of stuff. So, blah, 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 blah. Or I can just do a prose story and be part of an anthology. And these guys are really good about promoting on Substack, and I see that they get a lot of engagement from whatever community is building over there. So cool. But as far as to push myself towards that, I've got this pile, the books that I've got on the to be read table, that's kind of like leaning more towards that. And then the comics and graphic novels are sort of kind of going into the other room in the eventually bin. But I was going to say something about that pile. Crap. Anyway, so that's where I am now. And going back to something that might end up being in that bin, even though it's a beautiful Kickstarter item I did receive from another country. And this was purchased because it's very, very niche, and maybe my only chance to get such a thing, is the Sensational Master from Kamikaze Books, The Art of Rafael Galur, who was a Mexican artist who did these beautifully painted covers for the Mexican comic book digests, mostly leaning towards the lucha libre stuff. So it's Mexican wrestlers like Blue Demon. Well, he did a lot of Blue Demon. I'm flipping through it now. He did a lot of Blue Demon. He did Atlantis, which was the mask that John bought. I won't bother listing off the other people because it wouldn't mean anything to you guys. But anyway, they're very, very old-timey, pulp-looking painted covers, very dynamic, usually with sexy women too. You know, they got them over the shoulder like firemen carrying them out of a building, and fantasy scenarios, just spectacular stuff. I guess he did some line art too. I'm looking at some comics that he did featuring those characters that were really good. So there's a company called Masked Republic that has tried to promote Mexican wrestling here in the States, and they are the ones who have done it the closest to right that I can think it could be done. They've put out a line of comics. The comics were perfectly good. The artwork is good. The way of packaging wrestlers as superheroes was pretty good. They've done some English language matches and promotions. They do they have a convention where they bring some of the wrestlers and to sign autographs and sell toys, and just like a comic book convention, and only instead of fat guys who do comic books, it's fat wrestlers who wear masks. You still there?
Yeah, I'm listening to you.
Okay. So anyway, it's they're doing good stuff. But the thing is with the comics were good, but they were a little bit bland, and I kind of wish they had just translated some of these. And instead of me having to go to Kickstarter to I paid a lot of money for this book and a lot of money for the shipping. And because again, like, this is the first and only time I've ever seen a collection like this. And if this is the only collection I ever get, it's the best collection I think I'm ever going to get. So A++ to everybody who put it together. And I do wish that they'd been able to, maybe they couldn't get the rights or whatever, but I wish they could have used more of this to promote Masked Republic. But it also looks a little retro, so maybe they were trying to, keep it a little more modern looking for the kids. I don't know. There's this really cool painting that has nothing to do with Mexican wrestling of Batman in the Shadow. And holy shit, that's the coolest Batman in the Shadow picture I think I've ever seen. So, yeah, so that was an excellent one. I'm looking forward to seeing V from the 77. I believe that wraps up. It's like Joe Healy's thing. It's going to wrap up the first arc of the story. And I think they've touched up some of the artwork as well, so that's cool. I'm promoting it now, even though it's too late, I suppose. And I guess they're gearing up to do their Blazer collection or their Blazer annual.
Yeah, the Blazer annual.
That's up next up on tap. That one, I don't know. I'll have to see if I can, because the last ones were pricey but worth it. But now that shipping I might just have to go digital on that too. So, but speaking of, and then I backed.
Well, didn't they release a statement that they won't be sending stuff to the US or overseas because of the de minimis thing?
Oh, okay. Well, then I won't feel so bad, if I just go digital then.
Well, let me check that. I'm sure they said something like that. Oh, I hope I'm right, because if I get that wrong, that's bad.
So I also backed something called Thugs, and
who did that shit?
I don't know, but 72 pages for a
74
digest sounded pretty good. $74. Shit, you charge $5 extra for those 2 pages. But it looked pretty funny. It had a lot of boobs apparently, certainly on the cover. And I'd go for the whole shebang because some nut already went for that one. But I did get the.
I can't see the announcement from the 77, but I'm sure he did.
Okay. Well, I've moved on. Don't worry about it.
All right.
So anyway, so I got the physical copy, the digital copy, and then the extra, whatever that third extra thing is.
Well, the thing with, we'll talk about Thugs in a minute. I'm waiting on 2 items. I'm waiting on the art of Eduardo Risso, and that they're estimating that should be here in October, and then I'm waiting on Satari, the John M. Burns special edition hardback, and that's supposed to be here in August, but it's now September. So my problem with some of the stuff like this is that they seem reputable. Like I'll give them a break, but
yeah,
usually now what happens when people do Kickstarters, the stuff is already done. Especially when it comes to comic books, they just want you to finance it. So,
right.
I mean, I think in future these guys should learn from that, because all you're going to do is piss people off if you keep on missing your deadline.
Well, yeah.
With Thugs,
well, I mean, that's getting to be the world of independent comics. So
well, that's the way, I think that's the way it used to be, but it shouldn't be that way now, because a lot of people make sure they have their stuff done already before they even bother with putting it up on Kickstarter.
Well, I mean, part of the whole Kickstarter thing was to see if there was even an audience for it. So, right. You don't want to, you taking all that personal risk and then like, oh, I can't even sell it on Kickstarter. Kickstarter was never meant to be like a marketplace. Well, I mean,
that's what it morphed into.
It's become like Etsy 2.0,
right.
So, all right, but, that's what Patreon was for too. But it's become like, Kickstarter's become like, well, it better be done and shipped 2 days after you collect my money. And
I got some of that from the last White Heat, where I had 1 or 2 people asking, hey, where's this, where's that? I'm like, dude, you're gonna have to wait. You're gonna have to wait till I get all the funds in, and then you're gonna have to wait till I get the proof copy. And then I'm not releasing the PDFs. I'm releasing the PDFs as soon as I get the hard copies in, so that way everybody gets their stuff at the same time. So there was a lot of that. 1 or 2 people were like that, but crazy. I don't think
that's crazy.
Yeah. So, I think they were new. I think they were new to Kickstarter. The 2 people.
Right, and you could ship digitally and figure quotes ship digitally right when the funds had come, but still, I mean, that's. The point was that let's see if there's a market for this, and then at lower risk on my end, once I get the funds, I'll start commissioning and doing all the work. But that's not how it works anymore. So It's like, well,
I do get surprised when I see that I have sent out a link to people to download the digital version, and then 2 months will go by and somebody writes to me and say, hey, I didn't get the digital, the link is expired. Well, because you waited 2 months. So I'll send them another link, make sure they get their stuff and make sure they're happy.
Yeah. Well, the customer has issues. The customer's in all that whole. I think
it could be that they're involved in 5 or 6 different Kickstarters, and they're trying. It's hard for them to track it,
Right. Well, I'm still waiting for that Dirty Pair one from years ago now, like during the middle of COVID, because I know it's middle of COVID because that's what they blamed on why they weren't able to get the voice actors together to do the dubbing. But it's like, so what do they come in and do, like a line a day or something? Because
you can actually do it. If they have a setup at their home. If they have a setup at their home, they could record the voices at their home. And I think most voiceover people, if they if they're successful, they probably would do have a little home studio.
Mm-hmm. I'm typing that one up now. And then that Amazon woman thing. There it is. Let's dub the dirty pair.
When was the last update on that one?
I'm checking right now. June 27th.
Oh.
2025. We're excited to announce that everything has been approved by the licensor. This means we have moved to printing replication stage and all materials. We made some progress. Want to keep in the loop. Let's see. This was in May. What is QC? Is that quality control?
Yeah.
Okay.
Quality comics that weren't quality at all.
Oh God. If you've moved since filling out the survey, I don't think I moved. Due to the size of the art book with so many materials. So okay, so the one from May and the one from June, everything was. Then let's see if there's any comments. 25 days since the last update. 3 more days and you hit the upper end of your every 2 to 4 weeks thing. Yeah. What's particularly galling is that there's literally no excuse now. So anyway, so yeah, nobody's happy with that one. When was it? When was the thing? When did that thing start? They made $731,406 off that thing. And it happened. It was supposed to be delivered in August of 2022.
Oh wow!
So, yeah. So, and then same thing with that Amazon woman thing. We're officially now into our 3rd year of a text of a book that was just text with some illustrations. So, I'm going to, as quietly as I can, I'm going to try to look it up because I'm curious now. But yeah, so I do like, I do like crowdfunding, but I for reasons that are obvious, I'm going to have to take a step back. It's just going to be friends. So I figured, well, I was actually just going to get your digest, and I thought, well, if I'm not getting 5 or 6 other Kickstarters, I said just friends, so I'll back yours a little deeper than I had planned. So,
well, Thugs is 74 pages full color digest. What I've been doing as well is that if you're on the mailing list, on our mailing list, I will send behind the scenes stuff with extra sketches, or for example, I put in the pencils for the Ultra Maiden case files image alongside the finished image, and probably today or tomorrow I'll put in Alex's alternate cover sketch. It's the one where Ultra Maiden's in the front gonna dip the 2 guys in acid. That was one of the options for the front cover, but I went with the one of Ultra Maiden having the 2 thugs in the headlock, because that's where you see the 2 guys on the cover. So, so I will send that as extra bonus stuff to people that I have on the mailing list. And the mailing list is all the names from White Heat and the caretakers and stuff as well. I'm trying to build up a base that I can send information to. And the thing with me is as well, the comic books aren't political. There's nothing about politics in any of the comic books I do. It's just good fun. Like, I know we mentioned Adventures in Trumpland, we have our opinions, but the comic books are just plain old fun. There's nothing like that at all in them. They're just good writing, good art, hopefully, and just good storytelling. They're just far out fun, and I keep everything else away from that as possible. I just want to produce good comic books, and I was nearly sucked into doing all the variant cover stuff that all the other Kickstarters do, and I'm like, oh no, it's just a pain in the butt. And also, like I said, I just want to do good comic books and let them stand on their own, stand or fall on their own. I did notice that this time for Thugs, the Kickstarter went a lot better than when we attempted it way back in May, I think it was, May or June. And I haven't a clue why. I think part of the reason it might have done better this time around is because I'm sending out emails a lot more, and it's the timing of the emails too. Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays seems to be the best time to send out emails for people to look at instead of waiting till the end of the week, because I think at the end of the week people just want to leave work. So I did a little bit of research on when the best time was to send out emails, and that's why I think I'm getting a better interaction from people. And also the timing as well. I think there was a lot of tariff talk when I did it back in June or March, and so that's kind of died down a bit. So that probably helped.
There's a Canadian guy who was like Antarctic Press adjacent, and he like all. I'm not sure if he's still doing it because it eventually becomes like noise in the background, but he was like really mad about the tariffs and won't ship to the United States, and it's going to kill his business, and he's getting out of comics, and he's a dramatic guy. So I don't know where he stands, and then he might have changed that completely. We'll see. But anyway, so he wasn't thrilled, and this was and the Canadian guy, the live stream I do on Sundays, that guy's Canadian, and he collects a lot of stuff, and so he's talking about having to dial a lot of things back as well. So yeah,
I also give the option as well in Kickstarter and for the Thugs Kickstarter that if you want more than one copy, just send me a message and we'll figure something out. Because the way Kickstarter's geared up is you can only buy one item of one. You know what I mean? So I think if you want more, you just give me a message and I'll make a deal, because that's what I've done with all the other Kickstarters we've done.
Flint Lockjaw and the Art of the Deal.
Yeah. So that's it for Kickstarter Corner. What movies have you seen, Rossy?
Oh, well, I'm sure everybody's looking forward to my Red Sonja review.
Oh, yeah.
So I've seen Red Sonja. It's one of those things that I'm really... So I've only seen it once, and I don't know if I'll see it... I probably won't see it again anytime soon. And I was really looking forward to it, and I was really hoping to like it, and I had a lot of trepidation about it just because I knew some of the backstory. I'd been following it since at least since the Robert Rodriguez Rose McGowan version of it was supposed to get made. I think there was another one that before that they were talking about. So there are videos that review the movie and or have like a history of the different versions of the movie that were almost got made. And so briefly, after the first Red Sonja movie came out with Brigitte Nielsen, there were other ones that were going to get made. I forgot where they were going to go with the prior to Robert Rodriguez, but Rose McGowan was going to play Red Sonja. And one of the videos said that they broke up, and that's what caused it to flop. Another one said that she had quietly been in a car accident that wasn't publicized very much, and that it threw her arm out, and she couldn't use a sword anymore. So, like its arm's functional, but she can't do anything super skilled. Now, if you want to go into conspiracy corner, I could say also that she was one of the biggest, loudest mouthpieces for the Me Too movement, and both Robert Rodriguez and Quentin Tarantino owe their careers. Just going to leave that one there. So, and then there was another one that was going to star the girl who played that ghost villain from the Ant-Man movie.
No.
So she was going to be, I don't know if she's mixed race or black or, 100% black or whatever, but it would have been like Red Sonja of color. Frankly, I don't think she really looked the part. Frankly, kind of it may not have mattered, but it kind of does because you know why they're doing it, and then I guess that version of the script was very political of its time. So they brought in this woman, I think her name was like Tasha Huo. In her publicity shots, she looks very young, and she only had like 4 major credits, one of them being the Tomb Raider animated series, which I don't know if anybody, it's kind of under the radar now. I don't know if anybody actually loved it. If they'd done a good job on it, you'd think, a good Tomb Raider cartoon, that would be something people would be talking about, but no. So they brought her in and took a lot of the overt stuff out of it. But here comes the review. The end result is that it's very bland. I think there was like 2 or 3 movies worth of development budget that got spent. And so this movie got made with whatever was left in the couch pillows, couch cushions. And so it looks like a full moon movie, like a cross between a very high budget episode of Xena Warrior Princess or a full moon movie. And it's kind of lit like that too. The sets are very flat looking, so you can see everything. And if you watch a lot of behind the scenes stuff or, documentaries from DVD, like making of documentaries on DVDs, I could see, and there's a woman on the official Red Sonja Instagram account. There's this blonde woman, and to this day, I'm not exactly sure how or why she's the face and mouthpiece for Red Sonja Incorporated, but they've separated off from the Robert E. Howard estate. So there's like the Robert E. Howard stuff, which is Conan, blah, 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 Solomon Kane, and then there's Red Sonja as a separate business entity, and that's why they kind of like, the credits even say like based on the character created by Robert E. Howard, adapted by Roy Thomas. So it's kind of acknowledged that the Red Sonja that we know is more from the Marvel comics than it is from Robert E. Howard's version. So anyway, the way it's lit and the way it's made, it looks very digital. It has kind of like that Star Wars prequels, like the second 2 prequels. It has kind of like that look to it, which isn't and all of this stuff doesn't necessarily have to be terrible. But if you're expecting a Red Sonja movie that's got like some sort of sword and sorcery grit to it, this isn't that. And the story is very much a young person who it plays like somebody who read the hero's journey for the first time and said, wow, this is my template for writing a sword and sorcery fantasy adventure story. And so it just follows beat for beat. This is the Joseph Campbell rules. So if you know what those are, there will be no surprises in this movie. There's death, there's rebirth, there's the elixir, there's the healing, there's the guardian, there's all of the Joseph Campbell things are on display in this movie. And they're not subtle. They're not an older person's like, I can subvert this as long as I still deliver this. There's none of that. It's very textbook. Um, and then the Red Sonja you get isn't the she-devil with the sword. There's a lot of stuff you know you're not going to get. You know you're not going to get boobs. You know you're not going to get the she-devil with the sword. You know you're not going to get like the female rage machine, you know, killing any dude that tries to mess with her. But it also reads like some young person who's not familiar with any of the other Red Sonja stuff or the adjacent things, who watched those and said and learned what not to do. So I even read someplace that she, on one of them, I forget whether it was the actress or the writer, on purpose didn't watch the Brigitte Nielsen Red Sonja. And I'm like, that's a bad idea, because you kind of want to watch it to learn what not to do. I mean, there were some okay things in it too, but you got to watch Plan 9 from Outer Space and Casablanca if you're going to make a movie, because you want to know what not to do. So, there's no like, I've seen Hundra, I've seen Xena, I've seen any of the Barbarian Queen movies that Roger Corman made. There's none of that in it. It's like, but it does look and feel like a full moon movie. Like I said, with the way it's lit and the pacing and the cheapness. And then, so anyway, if you watch the behind the scenes stuff on the makings of movies like this, everyone's very encouraging. And I could totally see, like, when they came in with these sketches of the MacGuffins and the weapons, and there's like 5 dudes in armor that she kills like 5 times each to make it look like an army. As all these sketches and diagrams and concept things are coming in, I could see them going like, wow, that's awesome, that's going to be cool. And then the dudes in the plastic armor show up, and it's like, wow, that's cool. And then there's like these 2 baboon looking characters who, they're just there. They never say, oh, I'm from the land of Baboonania or something like that. It's just kind of like, all right, you look like a monkey. Nobody says anything. And there's a romance tease that goes nowhere. There's a lot of this. There's a lot of cool looking stuff that, when you put it together in this movie, which was made pretty cheap, I feel bad for the people who put so much into it. You know what I'm saying? Mm. So, and that leads me to my other thing. Like, everybody in this movie put everything that they had into it. The director tried to make everything look cool, and there's like some really great shots in it. It's the same director as Solomon Kane, which was by degrees much more awesome than this movie. Solomon Kane's actually really good and just kind of falls apart a little bit at the end. This one, you're just kind of waiting for things to kick in, and it never really does. So you get to see a CGI Cyclops, you get to see a CGI Scorpion, but they don't really do that much in the movie that's like that exciting. so it's kind of like, oh, that feels a little bit wasted. The villain has this like power source that he invented, and that's kind of quickly dealt with. There's a Colosseum that's on the edge of a cliff that kind of comes and goes. So it's just sort of like, oh, yeah. Oh, going back to the not having seen Hundra or the other Red Sonja adjacent type things too. So this is an origin story, and it's kind of one of those things where, like, you see her as a little girl, and she's living in this village that's kind of ruled by a matriarchy, and then it's attacked by a evil barbarian horde with a main vicious, scary dude. The main vicious scary dude is not the final game boss that she has to defeat at the end. The ending happens by healing, and she lives in she lives in the forest, and it's never really like the training and the gladiatorial training. It isn't done like Conan, where you get to see him beat up a bunch of dudes and get more vicious as time goes on. She's not particularly great training in the arena, and it's explained that she lives in the woods by herself and with the animals, and it's an almost Tarzan-like origin story while she's young and then a teenager and then a young woman. And they allude to this female goddess character that does play a part in the second half of her origin story towards the end. But it's like, but all of it's like, why did you blatantly choose Tarzan? And I'm thinking it's because she probably didn't know or care about Tarzan. You know, it's like, you kind of have to have a feel and a love for the pulp stuff to go like, yeah, I don't want to rip off Tarzan and transplant that into Red Sonja, because am I making sense, or am I just kind of babbling?
No, you're making sense.
All right. Yeah, I'm kind of all over. As I was watching, I'm all over the place with it now because I was all over the place with it as I was watching it. It's like I really wanted to like it. The bottom line is I really wanted to like it. I really appreciated all the work. The girl who plays Red Sonja, you could tell she trained, she's toned, she's fit, but she's not the voluptuous she-devil with the sword. She's good with the sword, but she's not like, it's not like you would watch her be like, you know, she's not like Earl Flynn or somebody who's like really handy with the sword. She just did a good job with the fight scenes she trained for this movie. The villain, he did the best he could with the role he was given. Everybody did the best that they could. With the makeup on the baboon people did look pretty cool. And even the CGI, not great, but they probably just didn't have Lucasfilm Industrial Light and Magic budget to make the thing look any more real than it does. So it's a fun watch once, and I would recommend it for people who like that kind of thing. But it's not as fun as the Roger Corman cheapo fantasy movies that he made in Argentina. It's not as fun as Xena Warrior Princess. And to me, Lucy Lawless, it's like the Judge Dredd thing, where like RoboCop is the best Judge Dredd movie, you know, or I'm trying to think of another instance where the movie that has the name of the actual licensed movie with the name isn't as good as the ripoff version of it. So Xena Warrior Princess is the best Red Sonja. Lucy Lawless totally sold the part. She looked good with the sword and was very convincing in the fight scenes, even though it was a TV show and they probably had like 2 hours to rehearse the fights before they went before the cameras. And I think that's all. I think I've rambled on about that. Now, on the other hand, and will be the short review, I did see the third Rurouni Kenshin movie, which is based on a manga, and then it became an anime, and now it's these live-action movies. And the first two Rurouni Kenshin movies, one's a prequel that was filmed after the series was done, and one's like the first one. One will say like the beginning and one says origins. Those two are kind of slow burn. But when you get into Rurouni Kenshin 2 and 3, the fight at the end of part 3, holy fucking shit. That thing goes on for like at least a half an hour. And there's like 50,000 moves in every second of fight. That guy, I heard that the training he went through for each of those movies was like intense, and he almost didn't want to come back because it was so rough. And he was in one of those live action Japanese superhero shows before that, like Power Rangers, Kamen Rider, that genre. So he went from that kind of fighting right into this kind of fighting, and I guess he was a dancer before that. And holy shit, every one of those skills is deployed in these fight scenes. So had they put those kind of, and those movies were cheap too. They were made in Japan and cost like barely double digits, and they got every penny up there on the screen. They had a boat, they had like tons of extras, costumes. When I say boat, I mean like a metal battleship where the final battles take. He just goes through that battleship and he doesn't kill people. That's part of the plot, but he takes out dozens of motherfuckers on that battleship, and his buddies go through it too. It's like those James Bond movies where like James Bond leads an army in and goes shooting everybody up. It's like that. Big scale action scenes, big scale set pieces, barely double digit budget, and very, very exciting. And the characters, a cool stoic samurai character. Highly recommended. And if only they could have done that in Red Sonja, but because of the current culture, partially, you kind of know they didn't. You kind of know why they didn't, and you kind of know that sadly they probably never will. So that's my review of two movies in one.
Well, I've been watching Alien Earth on Hulu, Disney Plus, and it's a really great show, and it's put some life into a nearly 40-year franchise that I never thought would happen again. They have some new stuff in there. Some. I mean, when you look at the Alien movies, you think, "Oh, I've seen it all. All they're going to do is do this, and then they're going to do this and this and this." It's all cliched, but not with this series. This series is like taking it to another level, and they've kept the set designs very similar, especially when they're on the ship carrying the creatures. They kept it very like the 70s movie, like it's a nod to the original Alien movie, and even the music, the setup, everything. It's just they did such an incredible job. On the latest episode, I won't spoil it, but it shows at the beginning, the first episode, it shows you the ship crashing into and they do a lot of flashback, real quick cuts to show the crew members dead, right? And then in this episode, it shows you exactly what happened, and it's a twist, because when you watch the first episode, you're like, oh, that makes sense, and then when you watch this episode, you're like, I thought this isn't what it was supposed to be in the first, but they twist things to this one character, and it totally suits and follows along what happened in the first episode. And it's not just one alien getting loose. There's like a few aliens getting loose, and not just a xenomorph, like different types of aliens. There's one really, I'm sure it's stealing the show. People are talking about it, but it's basically an eyeball, like an eyeball octopus, little small tiny.
Oh, I have seen that on the clips. Yes.
Yeah, that little character seems to be stealing the show because he's such an evil little piece of shit. But it's done in such a way you don't hear it talk, you don't hear anything, but it's very, very smart and very clever. So the whole show has been a revelation. It surprised me how good it is, because usually when you see something like Predator, Alien, it's the same old stuff that you've seen before. This is all new stuff. It's a really good twist on the Alien franchise, and I don't know where they're going after the series ends. I heard they're trying to renew it for a second season, but I don't know where it's going to go. I don't know where the movies are going to go after this, because it changes everything.
Oh my God! Just like the Acolyte.
Yeah. So it did a fantastic job, and really, 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 really enjoyable. So I've been watching that, and I've also been watching on Netflix. I've been watching Fisk, which is a story about an Australian lawyer. It's a comedy. and it's quirky.
Oh, it's not about the Kingpin.
No, she's a lawyer that works for this small little firm, and she does wills and stuff. But it's quirky little comedy. I can't really explain. It's hard to describe, but it's typical Australian humor, and it's funny. It's really funny. And then there's a Canadian show on Netflix too called Son of a Critch. It's based on Mark Critch's. He's a Canadian comedian and writer. It's based on his memoirs or his biography or whatever of him growing up in Newfoundland, and it's got Malcolm McDowell in it as the grandfather, and it reminds me of Malcolm in the Middle, but it's got some funnier moments, or young Sheldon without the main character being annoying. so it's that's really, really good too. And Malcolm McDowell steals nearly every scene as the grandfather. So they're the three shows I'm watching, but Alien Earth is really worth watching. It's so good.
I'm gonna wait to see what happens. Well,
it could fall flat. It could fall flat by episode 8. It could completely be a disaster. But there are a couple of things in it that don't make sense. Like there's a part where the alien it kills a whole bunch of people really fast, and then when it comes to one of the main characters, it just like looks at the main character, doesn't do anything yet. When it should be. I think I grabbed the main character and then had it greased up to the wall, like it was going to put an egg in front of the main character so that the alien could jump out and impregnate him. But there's stuff like that, and in this episode, the last episode, they have the captain of the crew, and she's running away from the xenomorph, and running down the hallway or whatever of the ship, and you're looking at how fast the xenomorph is moving. That creature would have grabbed her in the space of 2 seconds. It reminds me. It reminds me of Monty Python and the Holy Grail, where John Cleese's character is running up the hill. And you can see that he's running really, really fast, but he should be up to them. Like he should have caught up to them, like in the space of 1 second. And the xenomorph running like that against after the captain is the same deal. Or you see her run, but the xenomorph is should catch her because of how fast the xenomorph is moving. So there's little things like that you can forgive because the show has been so good that you give it good faith. If it builds up goodwill, which you kind of overlook little things like that. So it's an interesting show, but I highly recommend it at the moment. But we'll see what happens. If it falls flat by episode 8, I'll end up putting my foot through the TV.
Yeah, it's funny because I heard other reviews that could be put in the same basket as the I hate everybody crowd, I hate everything crowd kind of reviews now. So because the
well, we're jaded from watching all that stuff, and so when something fresh comes along or they add something new to something, you're like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm intrigued by what you said. Because I've heard 2, 3, 4 videos by other people I trust that are like the complete opposite of what you said, but it's sort of like, well, you're pretty convincing. Now, before we're probably going to have to pivot to the Prog real soon, but so I do want to ask you: did you ever watch the Devo documentary?
Well, Marnie fell asleep halfway through it, and I stopped. Okay. I found it incredibly boring, and I stopped probably 10 minutes from the end.
Oh wow! 10 minutes from the end.
I never made it through the whole lot, and probably never will. I found them really obnoxious, and pretentious. Everything. I just found them like a pain in the ass. I would probably never listen to their music.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, it's just whip it. That's it. But anything else, I will never listen to.
It's funny because I've kind of dialed back from listening to interviews like with this one. There was a lot of stuff said that I've heard many times before. The Kent State story, it's funny because the Kent State story, as long as I've been a fan of theirs, that didn't really start to emerge until the 90s, and that gave them a lot of boomer cred, and then that always became a talking point whenever they were interviewed or whenever they did a history of the band. But prior to that, it was just kind of like, yeah, they're from Ohio and they're art students, and they believe in this de-evolution thing. So so this documentary, they try to give you a lot of context about the '60s and the boomer world that they were.
I did find it interesting
that
I did find it interesting that they screwed up the deal with Warner Brothers, Virgin.
There was a lot more to it than that, but luckily they didn't get into the nuts and bolts because it would have been even more boring to you. So there was I forgot, did they in the documentary mention the Richard Branson Johnny Rotten thing?
I don't think so. I don't think Johnny Rotten was mentioned.
Because they really clean. I mean, there's another documentary that, going back to Kickstarter Corner, was funded on Kickstarter way over what they needed, and Mark Mothersbaugh nixed it, and because it was too much of the sex and drugs and rock and roll part of being in a rock band, and he was had already made a big reputation for himself doing music for kids cartoons, so he didn't want that out there. And I've not even seen it. You would think someone like me, like a copy had leaked somewhere and like in the fan network. No, it's like only people very, very close to the band have seen it.
What a wuss! Yeah. What a wuss! You have guys like you know who Johnny Ryan is?
Johnny Ryan?
Yeah.
No.
Johnny Ryan is an underground cartoonist that does all these outrageous cartoons that, I mean, you look at it and go, how did this thing ever get published? He's the one that did Hitler. Mm-hmm. Like a Hitler comes back and it's Hitler. He's wearing a baseball cap backwards, and he did the Celebrate Diversity cartoon, which is basically Ku Klux Klan in all different shapes and sizes, nothing to do with color.
Yeah.
But he's done really outrageous stuff like rape cartoons, people being beheaded. I mean, it's these outrageous cartoons. But he also drew stuff for Nickelodeon. Kids. He also did kids stuff and kids cartoons. Mm-hmm. And so you're like, if they ever found out that that's the same Johnny Ryan, and he doesn't hide it.
Way to call him out, man.
well, he doesn't hide it. It's just out there, and yet this guy from Devo wants it buried. I'm like, come on, dude.
Well, I guess over the years, I've heard stories about mountains of cocaine, and there was an interview before ecstasy was really taboo where it was
the 80s.
Yeah, well, whatever. Mainly it's the other guy, the other guy that they were talking to. That's I guess he's got a lot of things he's in. At the time he recorded, he had a lot of things he was into. So, but I've heard a lot of that stuff before, and the more that they've kind of talked, the more they've spoken recently, the more it's kind of like, oh, you guys are kind of snobby and elitist, and as long as, your excuse for everything is like, well, we were artists or we're artists, and so, that makes us better than, and they would never say like, well, we never said we were better than, but like everything about the tone and who they're looking down their nose at, it's kind of like, you think you're better than, so it's kind of like, well, and a lot of they are very good at portraying themselves as like a character called Mark Mothersbaugh, who's like from Devo, but people who have worked with them or gotten close to them or have spoken about them, it's like,
are you able? Hold on. Are you able to look at the podcast chat?
Let's see.
I sent you 3 panels from one strip that Johnny Ryan did, so you can imagine what the rest of it is like. Right, you can read it.
Looks like Viz.
Yeah, you can read it real quick.
Jeez. Wow. That's pretty dark.
Yeah, and he does kids' cartoons.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah. Well, I mean, with the internet now, if it's a slow, if it's a slow week,
He's in
they'll
trouble.
they'll come after him.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah. So I do understand. I do understand why you got out of it, because I'm kind of like, when I want a little dopamine buzz, I'll listen to one of the songs. But the documentary, I was like, yeah, what? Halfway through it, I'm like, I think I'm only going to watch this once. Maybe I'll watch it with somebody who wants to watch it with me, but so far that offer has not come. So,
All right, you want to do the prog?
we got to do what we got to do.
Okay. You're supposed to do John's impression.
Oh, why not? Let's rock.
Pew, pew, Barney McGrew, Cuthbert, Dibble, Grub.
Prog 2446. We have a Jake Lynch cover. What do you think of that one?
I'm gotta get back to the beginning. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's cool. I like it. I see nothing wrong with this. It sells the Prog. It's got Dread. Dread looks impressive.
Yeah, it's always
The
the pretty,
gun is-
iconic pose, isn't it?
Yep.
It reminds me of the Brendan
looks-
McCarthy image done a while back.
Yeah, yeah. Looks like he's got the same knee problems I've got, but dude, that gun makes no sense, but fuck it, it's cool.
It's Judge Ritus, Judge Arthur Ritus.
It's a good one.
Did you read Droid Life?
I did. This one has a couple of punchlines in it. Guys looking for treasure, but it's actually just a big ploy to get Tharg some volunteers to dig a new swimming pool. So,
Well, I'll
digging
do
for treasure. He's digging a pool.
I'll do the Dread strip, unless
Yeah.
you did something.
No, people have heard enough from me.
Okay, Judge Dredd the double. Carl Stock, Joe McRae, Mike Spicer, Annie Parkhouse. Basically, it's a clone job. The end.
Uh-huh.
I thought the artwork is Joe McRae. He's okay, but his Dredd always looks off to me, and his artwork
Is it
always
John
looks.
McRae or Jim McRae?
John McRae, yeah.
John.
His artwork always looks off to me, and it looks too sketchy.
Mm.
I think the colorist does a lot of heavy lifting.
Mm.
And Carl Stock does a good job, but some of the stuff seems some of the dialogue seems weird or out of place for me, like jarring.
Mm.
But overall, it's not a bad one-off.
So, I thought this was excellent.
Yeah.
Now, I'll do a John and say that
It's a clever idea.
Yeah. Maybe it was just in the way the story was told, but like a lot of it's, not they're not reinventing the wheel. I'll do a John and say that the Lost Master on that first panel is terrible.
Yeah,
but
it looks like
it's offset by
looks like a little
image
tykes.
Yeah, but it's offset with the cool image of Dredd's eyes, on the visor and all that. The first page grabs you like, you're dead, but it looks like you haven't stayed that way. What? So it keeps you turning the pages. They're not afraid to put more panels per page than like when Ken Neiman's writing it, which is, it's like this. Ken Neiman would have gotten 3 installments out of this. And then the clones, I think it is the way it was told. I do like the sketchy artwork, but I wouldn't love it for one of the longer sagas, or, it's like a lot of people, I prefer the cleaner Brian Boland style, or if you're going to go gritty, the over-the-top Simon Bisley style. This is kind of like somewhere between that. or even Jake Lynch. You know, he's basically the 21st century McMahon at this point. But I thought it was clever, and I thought Dredd's dialogue was Dredd was actually written like Dredd, and basically I think maybe I was surprised too, because this guy's written some okay-ish Rogue Trooper stories.
He writes Carl Stock writes a lot of articles for the Meg.
Yeah. So I don't know if it's because, like, okay, we're going to give you a chance to write these Rogue Trooper stories, and he doesn't have any kind of great passion for Rogue Trooper, but who does?
Who does?
Other than Gordon Rennie, maybe. But yeah, so I really enjoyed this one.
I
could be wrong. John will tell me why I'm wrong.
On the first panel, I did like the little fish head guy on the bottom right in the first panel. So that was kind of neat. It's kind of goofy stuff. This story was a replacement for Tunnels, because Tunnels got interrupted because I think the artist was a bit slow. So we're expecting Tunnels to continue next Prog, but if you looked at next Prog, it doesn't continue at all. It's like the artist has gone AWOL.
Oh, he probably looked at that Rob Williams script and said, "I'm not drawing this shit."
Okay, the Ravilius Pact Part 7, T.C. Eglinton, Steve Austin, John Charles, and Simon Boland.
All right, so the guy who played Mad Max from Fury Road comes home, and his wife is all upset, and he told her, "You got to go into hiding because shit's coming down." There's all kinds of gangland shit happening because the son of his boss is turning on everybody and betraying him. The bald guy with cancer takes a page to convince the guy from Mad Max.
He's the Make-A-Wish kid.
To go talk to the Scottish woman in a graveyard, and she cuts open a raven and reads its parts while she's explaining to him. I don't know. She explains something
the
to him.
End.
Read the story, and so the Make-A-Wish guy and Mad Max go home, and the building explodes, and hopefully his wife and kid are not in there. I have a feeling they're not. So basically, it is 100% Mobland with a supernatural twist. And I don't know if they pitched it that way, or it's just something in the zeitgeist where while they were making Mobland, somebody 2000 AD said, "Hey, wouldn't it be cool if we did a Guy Ritchie story with a supernatural twist?" Because it's, even if it's not directly Mobland, it's Guy Ritchie shit. So
yeah, I think the artwork is sloppy compared to Steve Austin's earlier work. The faces look, I mean, page 1, the perspective looks all off. Page 1, 2, 3. Page 3, bottom left-hand panel, when he's talking to the Make-A-Wish kid. Look how small the kid looks, the guy looks.
Well, I noticed a lot of it, like there's some panels that look really good, and there's some panels that, like you said, look a little rushed or sloppy. And part of that might be because he was just given characters standing around talking for a lot of this. So,
well, even the last panel on the last page, where he's kneeling down, it's supposed to be in shock at the house on fire. That's drawn so badly. That pose of him on the ground, it's like, what the hell, dude? It's like, I don't know. And even the fire, and I think when Steve Austin first came on the scene, he was very tight with his pencils and inks and whatever. I just think he's gotten. It could be right. It could be, like you said, it could be the story.
Yeah, I mean, some of it does look really great, and some of it is looks like, I don't want to say fanzine because that's, but it looks, you know, those comics that are kind of like in between.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
like
semi-pro.
It's like, yeah, there's all those kind of like, it looks like a good Kickstarter comic. You know, there's all these British publishers that are doing stuff that's somewhere in between the 77 and 2000 AD. And,
Right. Tangents, man. What's your tangents? He's got on what page? 1, 2, 3. Page 3, the fourth panel. It looked like his head is glued to the light.
Yeah.
You got to watch those tangents, dude.
That's I hesitate to criticize anybody's artwork too much. It's like I'm reading it as a non-artist, going like, some of this is a little bit off, but I can't like quite explain why it's off. Does that make sense?
I mean, he's a good artist. It's just I think he's taken a step back with this series, but I mean, his commissions are awesome. Yeah, his commissions look amazing. He's probably hate raging on me now. That fucking Irish piece of shit! How dare he?
No. I mean, for everything we're kind of going like, I don't know for this one. And again, it could be mostly the story.
Yeah, I think it's a story.
He'd be well within his rights. Also, I think I don't know what he charges for commissions now, but like those people are getting their money's worth, and I wonder if he's going like, I'm going to give them what they pay me for.
Yeah.
So, and I wouldn't blame him. So
I wonder if he uses a tablet or if he draws directly on paper, because it looks tablet-y, the way the borders are on the artwork. Yeah. Oh, okay. Scarlet Traces Empire Blood Part 15 in Edgerton, Australian, Annie Parkhouse.
All right, so our heroes are being dragged through a hole in the ground to the hidden base of the Martian war machines, where several of the war machines have been reassembled into like a place for the Martians to live in. And then there's like this one that's kind of like the worker centipede type thing. And then there's like a massive info dump page where the characters are talking to each other about the Martian war machines, blah, blah, blah. And then the German guy shows up, and instead of the enemy of my enemy is my friend, they throw dirt in his face, punch him out, and steal his gun.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yep, a little bit of action in there.
The enemy of my enemy is...
Throw sand in my face.
Yeah. Really good. Yeah. Liked it. Like the double page, the center spread kind of thing. It's nice. Good stuff. Not really much to say about it. Just it's still magnificent.
It's a good 15th part to a much larger story that's shaping up to be pretty good.
Yep. Good stuff. Well, that's that one over and done with real quick. Let's go to the Thought Bubble winners. Future Shock's Emmett's Girl, Evie Roebuck, Lucas McCoy in art, and letters Simon Boland.
Okay, so this dude who looks different in almost every single panel has all kinds of horrible things happen to him every time he goes on a date. And so he goes home and his hot mom, and I've seen enough Pornhub videos to know how this is going to go.
Does she get stuck in the washing machine?
Right.
Or searching for something under the bed and got stuck.
I know that earring under the bed. What are you going to do? So he decides he's going to get this robot girlfriend, and the guy who built the robot girlfriend was actually paid for by so he gets stabbed by his mom because he's not good enough, or she doesn't want him going out with other women. She wants him all to herself, but in a mom kind of way, not in a Pornhub kind of way.
That know of.
Yeah. And so I guess he lives through the stabbing,
which would be impossible.
But it turns out that, yeah, especially the way that looks. So he lives through the stabbing, and then the guy who built the robot girlfriend has like the mom's personality and memories on a disc and puts it in the girlfriend's body. And so she says, okay, we're going to be together forever. So it's kind of like a combination of a lot of Future Shocks-ish type stories.
Well, there's a few things wrong with the story that don't make sense. But I mean, it's one of our first stories, right? Evie Roebuck, so we'll give her a break. She's one of the winners. I'll talk about the artwork first. I loved the artwork. I thought it was absolutely amazing. It reminded me of Glenn Fabry mixed in with the American artist Flint Henry, not Henry Flint, Flint Henry.
American artist
Flint Henry, yeah. He drew Law Dog for Epic years ago, and I think he did some Grimjack, I think.
Well, this was like, tell me you're European without telling me you're European.
Yeah, Flint Henry's art, if you look him up, he did bits and pieces for DC and different independents, and Law Dog was the one he did for Epic, for Marvel Epic, with Chuck, I think it was Chuck Austin.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's what this artwork reminds me of. The artwork is amazing, and if I was Tharg, I'd have him draw more, because he's really, really good. The story-wise, like, why would the guy have his girlfriend at the mom's house? To have the guy operating, like, going to put the personality in at his mom, that's creepy.
Yeah, but you know what? Rush it along.
Yeah, he only had like 6 pages, 5 pages. Yeah,
do what you got to do.
Actually, he had less. So. 1, 2, 3, 4 pages.
Dang. Okay.
Yeah, the whole knife going through his chest from the back. Nobody survives that.
That might have been the artist's choice to way overdo that. So.
Yeah, but it's not a bad little Future Shock. It shows a lot of promise, but the artwork is amazing.
Yeah, I do not mind seeing more from this team. And like you said, it's the first. Future Shocks now have to be like even harder than they were back in the day, because there's been so many, and they all, most of, even the ones written by seasoned pros have tropes to them and all that kind of stuff. So, and the surprise endings have to be next to impossible to come up with. So she did a good job, got through it, passed the test. So I'd say good for her. And then it was a pretty well written Future Shock. So, and then this art, I'm going to say it out loud. It's kind of like, I almost wish that they could somehow bring back Defoe and have this guy draw it. So,
yeah,
that's not going to happen.
No, I think in the interview he said he'd like to draw Slain, but that's not going to happen either.
Yeah. So
okay. Last but not least, Azimuth, Abandoned by God, Part 7. Dan Abnett, Tajio Betten, Matt Soft, and the Cosplay Cowboy, Dim Dumbbell.
Yeah, so all of the the assassins have gathered back at the gods of whatever, the lords of whatever they call it, New Flesh or something. They're back at their base, and they're talking to Dexter, and he says he's not here to. He's explaining what the whole Azimuth thing is, and Annika and so the gods want to take it over, and he says, no, I want to kill all this. And then meanwhile, his ex-girlfriend or her avatar or whatever it is confronts the Ouija board girl. They get into like a little conflict thing. Oh, actually, what happens is his ex-girlfriend gets so upset that she burns out the blocker modification she's got in the back of her neck, and this Azimuth Annika god shows up in a cloud. So just a lot of plotting and planning what the next thing is going to be in the story.
Well, I sent you Sorry, excuse me. I sent you an image of Flint Henry, sample of Flint Henry's art. You can see that new guy looks a little bit like him.
Oh, yeah. So this was what, from Law Dog? Is this a signed page you have, or was this off?
Oh, no, this is offline.
Okay.
Online on the internets.
Yeah, I like it. I like that style. So.
Yeah, I don't think he draws comic books anymore, this guy. He did some DC stuff. Like he did some. I think he did some Green Lantern Corps stuff.
Yeah, it's a shame. A lot of those they're getting those like cheapo European artists to draw for Marvel and DC. Like, who is this person? And some of them are really good, but they're just kind of like, I don't know. It's got like that European look, and it's not distinctive to my eyes. Does that make sense? So, anyway, it doesn't matter because Marvel and DC are dead to me. So, in all their shapes and forms. So,
well, anyway, Azimuth was okay, just going along, no big deal.
It's part 7. So, well, wait a minute, this must be part 7 of.
I thought it was longer than that.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like it's
part 17.
He's got a talent for making things feel like it's moving ahead, and it's really not moving much at all. So,
I mean, it's brilliant artwork and everything. Just you just want something to happen, like something to end, or
Yeah, it's enjoyable. It's enjoyable, but it also feels like it's flatlining. But
yeah.
I mean, but again, it's kind of like it feels like it's flatlining because we've been here many, many times before. It's like, oh, something's going to happen, change. No, just some more action, more clever puns, more characters with cool names, and in the case of this artwork, cool looking characters. Nothing wrong with that. It's just, I think, again, we've talked about this before. It's a lot of this, if you're claiming to be the galaxy's greatest comic, is a story that is really, really well drawn and enjoyable. Is that good enough? And the same thing with the Mobland story. It's kind of like, if this was somebody's indie horror comic, that was the only story. It's like 22 pages of that. It'd be fine, for a good indie comic, but is it the galaxy's greatest comic? Not really. Is it even like experimental enough to be like some weirdo thing that is polarizing in the galaxy? Not really. It's just pretty good, somewhere between okay and pretty good. So
what was your favorite?
Oh, you know what? I'm going to give it to the Dread story.
Well, I'm going to give it to the Future Shock.
Really?
Yeah, because the artwork is amazing, and the story was okay, but I like to encourage the new people coming in. So
that's fair.
Yeah, so
I would. I'm going to keep mine, but I will agree with that. And so third choice would be what? Scarlet Traces.
Well, Scarlet Traces, yeah, it's always been consistently good, hasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it's been the first pick for a lot of this run. It's just chugging along at part 15. I didn't even realize it was like part 15. So, but it also feels like it's going somewhere. So it'll probably be wrapping up. Is it? I didn't even see. Is it in the jumping off Prog?
Scarlet Traces.
Yeah.
Must
be.
Yeah, and then in the next issue, it's still in the next issue, and then for Prog 2448, I think it has a double page count. Yeah, so it's getting there. You'll have to end before 2450, or roughly around then.
Yeah. Oh, we got the Hernan Shuck story for. Two supernatural contemporary slow burn stories
featuring Oasis.
Woo! And Mulcher's in the next Future Shock by James Peaty.
All right. So,
Skip
anything to say before we hit the
Reese's
road?
own James Peaty. I can hardly wait.
Okay. Anything to say before we hit the road?
Not really. Looking forward to hearing John's. I mean,
Adventures in
we've heard some of
Truckland.
John's. Yeah, so that'll be pretty exciting. I don't think I'll have seen any movies or anything between
now and then, so it'll be pretty quick.
Yeah, unless every Kickstarter I ordered it comes in by on this today's mail. It's just going to be like mostly John, so that'll be great.
Yeah, I did tell you I ordered the 3. I had Volume 1 and Volume 5 of the Trigon Empire because they were given to me by a friend. And so I went and ordered the 3 other volumes in between. It's really good stuff.
Yeah?
Yeah, like I said, we used to get Look and Learn in the school I went to, the primary school I went to, Springdale, in Raheny, in Dublin. It was a non-denominational school, mainly Protestant Church of Ireland, but we had Jewish kids there too, and I think a couple of Catholics. But it was a mixed school too. It was boys and girls, which is rare for Dublin back then because there are either boys' schools or girls' schools. You didn't really have mixed, and the boys' schools and girls' schools were usually Catholic and run by nuns or priests. So, or they had priests in there and nuns. So we used to get Look and Learn, and they would have the Trigon Empire strip in there, and I never paid any attention to it because it always looked old and boring to me. I always found the old painted artwork kind of stodgy when you compare it to the likes of Battle Action or 2000AD or even the Star Wars UK Weekly that they came out with. Anything like Look and Learn always stank of education. So yeah, and that's what it was. Look and Learn was an educational magazine that would have the Trigon Empire in there, or Trigon Empire, or Trigon. I say Trigon. So you kind of dismissed it. So now, later on, I've just recently started reading it, and it's really damn good.
Yeah, the artwork looks fantastic. If I had time, I'd probably be all over it. But
well, the thing is, when you compare the artwork there, right, with what we were getting with 2000AD with McMahon and Boland and Gibbons, you kind of threw the Trigon Empire to the side. There's no way you're going to read that. But as you get, when you get older, you look at it, you go, "Oh, this is actually great stuff."
Yeah, yeah. And do you remember that? What was it called? Like First Kingdom? That.
Oh yeah, I've got that. Jack. What's his name? Jack Katz or Cates.
Jack Katz. Yeah, yeah. That's another one. It's like I actually have all the comics, but.
Jesus, how many pages is that?
I know, it's so dense, and not only just in page count. It's just like so. Each page is so dense. It's like a crazy person. Well,
that's because that was his Lord of the Rings with his world making with all the history and all that kind of stuff.
And I remember like every older people. Who I don't think I got the comics until.
I'll tell you what. Why don't you explain to people what that is? I'll go pull up the volume that I have so I can.
Well, I got to get going, but it's like this mega works of starting from like caveman times to going through this civilization till they're like a space-faring culture, and then it's like takes place in the future. And it's like this big, long, epic soap opera, and
it's kind of forgotten because I never heard of it until a few years ago.
Yeah, it's kind of like people talked about it like a lot, like especially when I was getting the paper version of the Bud Plant catalog. They always talk it up in the catalog, and so finally I was able to get some copies I got the copies of the comics really cheap, and then they did like this big mega hardcover reprint of it, and then it was kind of like that one printing, and that's it.
Well, the Titan books came out with the First Kingdom. I have the First Kingdom Volume 1 in hardback.
Mm-hmm.
And it has a quote from Jack Kirby on it. He said, "The avid buyers of Jack's monumental saga, numerous and loyal, can attest to the eloquence and mesmerizing sweep of characters and situations rarely seen in standard commercial fare." And even Jerry Siegel had a comment on it too. "Reading The First Kingdom is like seeing captured on paper glimpses of a dream world depicted by an artist with remarkable creative vision." It's incredible. I don't know how many. I don't know how many Titan books were printed in many volumes, but it's incredible artwork. But it's probably a long slog to read.
Yeah, just the first issue was like the caveman stuff was just kind of like, it wasn't that it was bad. It was just like a lot and dense, and you had to pay attention. So it was. Let's put it this way: it was demanding, and I don't know if I was ready to commit at that time. So anyway, I got to get going. So I will talk to you tomorrow.
Yeah. All
Same
right.
time.
I'll stop recording. All right.